Good afternoon. Pleasure to be here. I'm going to take a few minutes to read the background for Chancellor Blumenthal. As you know, George Blumenthal is the Chancellor in UCSC, UC Santa Cruz. He is their 10th Chancellor. He joined the campus in 1972 as a faculty member in astronomy and astrophysics. During his tenure as Chancellor, and he's in his 9th year as the Chancellor, UC Santa Cruz has become a first-choice destination for a growing number of high schools graduates. The campus is consistently ranked as one of the best young universities in the world, and what is more important, it earns top rankings for the impact of its research influence. And you'd be surprised that now it is tied for first with MIT. And I'm sure that would be. He has overseen the expansion of the campus into a number of interesting areas like cognitive science, network and digital technology, robotics engineering, as well as master's programs in games and playable media and scientific computing and applied mathematics. Chancellor Blumenthal is building partnerships and programs in Silicon Valley and reaching out globally to increase international enrollment and engagement. He is deeply committed to opportunity, increasing the number of underrepresented minority students and the percentage of first-generation college students who will be the first in their families to earn a four-year degree. Please join me in welcoming Chancellor Blumenthal.
Good afternoon, everyone. When I think of the University of California and the IITs, I realize that we share one thing in common. We are both elite sets of universities in our countries. Elite in the sense of research and teaching of students. When I think about UC Santa Cruz, my campus, I think of us as the UC of Silicon Valley as well, because we have facilities here and because we have a significant presence in the Valley. And like Silicon Valley, UC Santa Cruz is now celebrating its 50th anniversary. We've grown up alongside Silicon Valley. And many of our programs, in particular our Baskin School of Engineering, was tailored toward the needs of Silicon Valley. We very much collaborate with our corporate partners here, and we've developed a number of areas of excellence. Areas such as data sciences, for example, where Kumar Malavalli and Glassbeam just gave us a major contribution in that area. Another area is open source software. Yet another area is storage systems, where 11 of the world's major corporations have partnered with us on storage systems. Another area is computer gaming and playable media, where we have actually been leading the way. And another area that you'll hear more about today is in genomics. Our corporate partnerships allow us the opportunity for students to get experience with companies in Silicon Valley and for our faculty to be involved in research engagement with companies here, right here in the hub of global innovation. This also gives companies access not just to students and future employees, it also gives them access to our faculty and our leading research programs. And we are building, as a campus, research collaborations and partnerships. For example, this summer, KAIST from Korea has sent a number of students here for an inaugural summer program for undergraduate students. In fact, they're arriving just this weekend. They will be taking courses in computer science and computational media. They'll be visiting Silicon Valley companies, and I believe they're going to have a great experience visiting this country. And my hope is that they're going to come back and actually do graduate studies at UC Santa Cruz. I would hope to build similar programs with IITs. Now, I mentioned genomics because that was the signature contribution of our campus about 15 years ago. You may remember the Human Genome Project, which ended in the year 2000. Laboratories all over the world were mapping little portions of the human genome. But it was one of our faculty in computer sciences working with a biologist who actually solved the problem of how to put all of those little pieces together, how to assemble the puzzle, so to speak. And when they finished that job, we put it up on our website, and we've been going since. Currently, we have a tremendous effect on global research in genomics. Our genome browser gets 1.3 million hits per day, and it is the foundation of the new field of precision medicine. It's transforming the treatment of patients. In fact, the National Cancer Institute has established the National Cancer Genome Hub at UC Santa Cruz. And our leadership even continues beyond that. One of our faculty helped establish the Global Alliance, where we are building open source internet protocols for sharing genomic data. So I've told you just a little bit about the campus. If you have more questions, there are Santa Cruz people with yellow lanyards around their neck, and they'd be glad to answer more questions. But when I think about UC Santa Cruz myself, I think about the creative, brilliant minds who are working on the campus. We have brilliant researchers like biomolecular engineering professor Josh Stewart. You know, to be a chancellor, as I am, you have to have a large degree of optimism. But in an era of challenges like global warming or terrorism or economic inequality, optimism can sometimes wane. But then I remember the work that people like Josh Stewart do. It gives me great confidence that we can meet any challenge. So please join me in welcoming Professor Josh Stewart.
Thanks so much, George, for that introduction, and thanks to the organizers for inviting me. It's truly a pleasure for me to be here. I haven't actually had the honor of visiting India yet, but I'm looking forward to going there for the first time this December. The International Cancer Genomics Consortium will be meeting there in Mumbai, and I'm truly looking forward to that. I've had the pleasure of working with many folks from India, and I'm truly delighted. I have established many friendships, and there are folks in my lab from India. I've been looking to be adopted, actually, because, you know, my friends call me Josh, which they tell me in Urdu or Hindi means enthusiasm, excitement. And I always thought that was much better than what my name means in English, which means joking around, a jokester kind of thing. So I hope that you'll see today, I'm very serious about what I do. I'm enthusiastic about it. So feel free to call me Josh, I guess. As George said, I don't know if I'm using the right clicker, by the way. I'm trying to advance here. Maybe they can do that for me. So over the hill from here is UC Santa Cruz, this beautiful campus. I like to show it because I hope that what I show you today demonstrates the power of inspired geeks, right? I mean, that's what's over the hill. We've got these amazing folks over there that have established a track record at UC Santa Cruz for developing algorithms that can look deeply into our genomes, find the essential fundamental pieces of it, and they've created an amazing legacy, like George mentioned, this UC Santa Cruz browser, which is the most used biology tool. And so I'm just pleased to have joined this incredible cast of folks and to be able to talk to you about a little bit about our work there. I was told not to show this slide because it's shown way too often, but I just wanted to get you a context switch into the topic that I'm going to go over today, and just to illustrate that DNA sequencing is such a revolutionary technology. It's beating what we already thought was revolutionary, this Moore's law, that you can double the size, the amount of transistors on a chip at a constant rate. DNA sequencing has far outstripped that pace, and we are basically at the $1,000 genome, and so this will be very disruptive technology. All medical centers and hospitals will be using this, and so we need to be prepared, and we need to be excited about the potential. And so, of course, the number of sequences is increasing. So this graph is just to show you something we've extrapolated from current data sets. 2018, you're getting 1 million genomes, or 500,000 genomes. This is actually, we expect it to be larger than this. And as you heard President Obama announce a few months ago, we are looking forward to the 1 million genome patient database. And so this is becoming a national priority as we go forward. So that, I want you to picture that beautiful hill that overlooks the ocean that I showed first. If you could put magic goggles on, you would see genomes just streaming up and down the campus. We are the providers of genomics. We were the first trusted partner. When the government already hit a crisis 3 years ago and couldn't fit all the data in their database that's being generated by the cancer projects, they turned to UC Santa Cruz to manage and to be the shepherds of this data, which we continue to do, and that's what George mentioned is this Cancer Genomics Hub. And so we're just excited to provide that information, and we're using it for looking at rare diseases, for looking at immunotherapies, and today I want to tell you about the work we're doing in cancer, since we've been doing that for a few years, and share just a vignette of the excitement there. So my one slide primer on cancer is here. It's what we do is we look at the genomes inside a normal cell, and we compare that to the genomes inside a tumor cell, and you look for the differences in these genomes. So when we do the whole genome sequencing, we're actually sequencing 2 cells, the normal and the tumor, and comparing them. And the differences give us a signature for that tumor. And then we can archive and database that signature. And so we asked, what if we take all these signatures that the national projects are collecting and put them all in one place? What would we see? Are the signatures revealing of certain types of cancer, where they arise in the body, and this kind of thing? And so for the first time ever, we could take 12 different types of cancer with the national project, and we led this effort called the Pan-Cancer effort. I was the leader of this project, and we published several papers on it a couple years ago. And last year, we were finally able to put all of it on this one map. And this map, which we used Google Maps to render, was actually developed by a high school student in my group, Sahil Chopra, who's now at Stanford. And what Sahil did was he took all the patient tumors, compared all them together by their signatures, and let them fall in this landscape according to what they're more similar to. So what you're seeing here is every dot is a patient sample for 5,000 different patients, 12 different types of cancer, and they form little islands. So you see these little sections. And the first thing that we weren't surprised to see was that they fall more or less by tissue of origin. Where they arose in the body sort of had the driving influence on those signatures. But what was, I think, much more fascinating was some of these tumors actually had very interesting patterns. So I'm showing you one here for bladder cancer. Not all of the bladder tumor samples ended up together. So a lot of them did in that major island you see, but some of them landed in areas where there's head and neck cancers, and others landed where there's lung cancers. And when we actually looked at these patients, it had everything to do with their outcomes when we tracked them over the course of their treatment, which, looking back at what happened to them. And so it suggested that the information in the molecular signatures that gives us the ability to look inside tumors, not just at the tumors, like I said in the previous slide, has information that is probably relevant for the doctor treating that patient, and we need to get this information into their hands as quickly as we possibly can. So we're expanding on these efforts. Our mission is to make large databases of these tumor signatures we have a preliminary result I'm showing you there on the bottom right, where the next project with the government is to collect 11,000 patient samples covering not 12 tumor types, but 33. And so we're set to increase the amount and the resolution of what we can guess for these patients, these tumor samples. So I want you guys to think about this for a second. So the first map we had, if you go through and you count up all the things like that bladder cancer that are getting reclassified based on the molecular signature, you see that about 1 in 10 currently are landing in these unexpected, surprising areas. 1 in 10 is a lot of people, actually, that this could be very helpful for. That PanCan 33 map, actually, our first estimate now is it's going to be 1 in 5. And we think this is just going to increase. The more we can get data, the more we can bring our data science abilities onto large aggregate samples. We think our excitement is going to grow, and we hope that this will give us information about their treatment. And I'm just going to show you 2 examples of that quickly. So we also are on a project funded by the Stand Up to Cancer effort from Hollywood's entertainment industry. We're called the West Coast Dream Team because all the collaborators are on the West Coast. What our goal there is to collect these very hard to get samples from patients where cancer's already spread. They have late stage disease. It's called metastatic disease. They have metastases all over their body, and you can see I put a picture in there of a poor patient who has many different metastases. What we need to do is get a sample from all those metastases because tumors come in families. They are related to each other. They derive from each other. They gain differences as they go through our bodies. And we want to put all of their metastases on that map I showed you so we can get insights, possibly different ones, from the different metastases. And then we can ask which ones are responding to treatment, which ones are not responding to treatment, and try to look at the genetic circuitry that underlies the differences of those types of cancer. And that's what we're working on with this West Coast Dream Team project. Another very special group of people that we're working for, just starting out, are kids. So childhood cancer is an underserved population. It's understudied. It's not as well funded. Not as much is known about childhood cancer. And when you look back, it's for a good reason. We don't want to experiment on children. But because of that, we're very much not in the know about how to treat kids. And so what our idea is, by creating this treehouse project, one of the flagship projects of the Genomics Institute at UC Santa Cruz, is to collect all of the adult cancers we have, map in childhood cancers based on their signatures, and then see what the adult cancers tell us about it. And so we've put together a consortium of investigators that are running these clinical trials where they're seeing patients and getting their biopsies. And I just want to put a plug. George mentioned the Global Alliance for Genomics and Health, which is creating standards for sharing data, and that is absolutely critical for this type of work because I don't think it's coming through on the slide, but the data sets are in all these little silos around the globe, and they're in hospitals and medical schools, and you can't aggregate the data to do statistics when things are siloed like that. And so it actually was great to hear Pat's talk earlier from VMware, where he was discussing being able to move seamlessly between private and public clouds. That is going to truly help us combine this data. So our vision is to connect that data sets using social media, using cloud platforms that we're developing at UC Santa Cruz and leveraging from work like you heard at this conference. And then we'll have the ability to connect these data sets together to make these inferences. So quickly, the genomics data gives us a new way to look inside the tumors. I mentioned that. And one of the early examples of this for children is most kids with neuroblastoma had very poor outcomes, no treatment options. And recently they showed that a drug used in lung cancer was effective for 3 different types of childhood cancers, including neuroblastoma. And it all has to do with the molecular signature, the molecular changes in those tumors being shared with the changes in the lung cancers. So this boy, for example, got crizotinib, had neuroblastoma, and for what we can tell now, it has a lasting effect. So we're looking for this kind of hits out of the park, right? So what we've done now is from this trial, we've taken our first patient. This patient had sarcoma, and that's shown as this white dot in this graphic. If you squint in the upper right, you'll see a little white dot for the patient. They landed not with the sarcomas, which is the blue island on the left, but with the neuroblastomas that have this type of alteration for which you could treat crizotinib. And we've actually seen an effect on shrinkage of some of these metastases after suggesting crizotinib treatment. So we're very excited about this idea. We're just at the beginning of it. I only had time to tell you a little bit about it. What we're doing is trying to expand our efforts, increase the database, I said, because that will increase our power to help more patients quicker. We want to increase the number of people we have at Santa Cruz in that beautiful place. We've started a Genomics Institute to increase the number of partners we have. If you're at all interested in getting on board, investing with us, please talk to me. Talk to Ravi Jain, who's our new director for the Institute. He's here. He's got one of those yellow lanyards that George mentioned, if you're at all interested in this. I know all of us have skin in the game. We all have a personal story with cancer. In my case, my mother is a breast cancer survivor. She calls me every week and asks me, did you make a breakthrough this week, right? And I usually tell her, Mom, yeah, we're plugging away. Things are working. When I got to share with her that map that we published and the ability to look at cancers for kids and for these metastatic prostate disease in a different new way and to actually help them and be concrete and make a decision, I could tell that she finally understood, and it was just very fulfilling and rewarding to be able to share that with her. And it was a great day. And so I just hope that I could increase those great days. So thank you.
Thank you.